lecturers to develop, to learning and do research. And this is the way, like, why I decided become a lecturer at VGU and at GPM program. And I believe that it is the right decision until now. I enjoy a lot with teaching and learning and doing research here. Yeah.
And we are very happy to have you here. So I'm glad that you didn't regret your decision to come to VGU.
Yeah.
Dr. Heck, may I ask you the same question?
Yes,
to share some of the experiences that led you to VGU and also how you decided to actually work in the field that you are now working in.
Yeah. Yeah. So I always had a kind of a passion or interest to programming, to computer programming, from very early age, and I was lucky that my parents also supported my interest. So that's how I ended up studying computer science. But then when I got also the same BEF scholarship to study abroad in the US, I actually had a very big challenge and big decision to actually switch my major from computer science to electrical engineering. It's actually more usual the other way around. You switch from electrical engineering to computer science. But the other way, the way I switched was quite challenging for me. But the reason I did that because I discovered my passion towards biomedical engineering or biomedical imaging specifically. So my major, what I do is I develop, I try to come up with the innovative algorithms to work with the medical devices. Get the data, do data acquisition, and from there I develop algorithm to produce the medical image that eventually is given to the radiologist or doctors for the further analysis, diagnosis, and for example, surgery planning or therapy planning. So I think that I very enjoy what I do, and I think I can make a small impact in my own way. Yeah. And the path that led me to VGU, so after graduating with my PhD, I worked as a postdoc at Stanford University at School of Medicine for 2 years. And then it was the time when I decided I want to go back. I want to go back to reunite with my family and to make my own contribution to the country. And I chose VGU because it's very similar reasons as Dr. V mentioned, because of the very professional and international environment at VGU. That I can use my English language to still communicate and teach. And one reason I really like about VGU is VGU's students. What I mean is the spirit and the entrance education quality. So when I teach students, VGU students, very proactive, always challenge myself with questions. So I really like about that. And that's what keep me moving on and contributing in my chosen academic path. So I could see being like former coordinator for EIT or ECE program through and being lecturer for already 5 years at VGU. I could see a lot. I interacted with so many students, and through those interactions, I could see every day how they grow up. They become mature and they succeed in the field of engineering. So many students could get the master or even PhD scholarship after finishing VGU study abroad, like in US, not just limiting to Germany. And also, especially, I can see that the VGU female students, they are very proactive and they participate in a lot of competitions. For example, they get the AmCham, the American Chamber of Commerce Women in Engineering Scholarship for their outstanding study and extracurricular activities. or they also do a lot of internships at various industrial companies. And for example, I can share with you my very daily experience when I was sitting working in the office, and then I suddenly received a call from Intel. They asked me if I could introduce more EITU or ECE female students, because our previous students have succeeded in the internship and job. Eventually, they got a full-time job at Intel. So all those like small things every day, I had experience on myself, and again, this is what always kept my passion to contribute to the growing development of the university.
That sounds great. And I think we are happy and delighted that we both have you here. Now I want to come to something maybe a little bit more serious.
Yeah.
So, because I think all of us being female in the workforce have faced some challenges or some situations that haven't been so great or so inspiring, like what we heard before. So can you tell us a little bit more or give us examples about challenges you personally have faced being a female engineer and being a female in the workforce, and maybe also how you overcame them? So that it's not only something challenging, but also maybe to inspire other people in the audience how to deal with such problems.
Okay. I think there's the most challenging, as Dr. Hill already mentioned, about the traditional gender stereotypes that people always believe that females is not suitable for engineering. That's why when we study in engineering field, for example, the professor give the project for a group, and then in mechanical engineering field, normally the class will have like 1 or 2 female students. And then the male student will think that, oh, it's better for us to do with something like recording, writing, and they will do with analyzing, find out the solution, and so on. So it's like we have to speak up. Our require the equality for us. This is a big challenging in the study environment in engineering field. That we need to work very hard to show them there's our ability is equal or even better than them. Yeah. To deserve the respect like male students, we need to work harder, much harder. This is the most challenging. And the second is for just share with my students, because many female students work in GPA program, maybe they quite old, have the family. So we have a lot of challenges between balance time with studying, working, and also take care of family. So I will study PhD when I was almost 30 years old with 2 little daughters. Yeah. So the time at that time is like, of course, we still need to have a lot of exam assignments, important tasks like male students. But we also, because we are women, we need to take care of the little children and so on, housework and so on. So the big challenge is time management. How you can utilize your time for studying, working, and take care of your family. Yeah. I think it's the 2 most challenging. Yeah.
But I like the way I experience it. I think you manage quite well.
Yeah. I think to manage it well, you need to have very high discipline and have the good plan with a clear target. Then you have the strong will to comfortable to take the difficult task. Then you can do whatever you want, whatever you wish. Yeah.
I think that's really inspiring. Dr. Yin, can you also share some experiences that you personally had being a female engineer?
Yeah, sure. I think what Dr. V has said is pretty much also things that I have experienced as challenging in the engineering field. So I think the factor is that you always have a prejudice from, or maybe some bias towards women working in engineering, maybe underestimation of your ability, and and maybe also not complete recognition of all your achievements. So that is what I somehow also kind of experienced. But I think the way to overcome that, at least in my case, is I just keep going, just keep doing things, and in the end, I think all the results will speak up on themselves. Another challenge is also, as Dr. V had mentioned, is family. So family here, especially when you have kids, so it's very hard for women to balance both family and the job. So being having a clear target, being very have very well organized tasks, will help you to actually overcome this. And just to be honest, there is nothing free. So sometimes you have to compromise.
Sure.
Another challenge in my own personal experience is, as I mentioned, I switched from computer science to electrical engineering, which is more kind of with dealing with hardware, electronics. So in my case, I had to, when I was admitted in the U.S. University, Illinois University, I had to clear up my deficiency in not having a background in electrical engineering. So I had to study very hardcore subjects in electrical engineering, like electronics or solid-state devices, electromagnetics. So that was a very hard and challenging time for me. In parallel, I still have to study for master and PhD courses in electrical engineering and do also research. But actually, that very rough time, it taught me not only just academical challenge, but it also gave me more life experience, how to deal with challenges, how to overcome your own limitations, how to still be positive, staying positive, and still trying and be patient. Be patient. I think all those characteristics actually will help you to succeed in the field.
You already mentioned my next question would have been like, do you have like particular tips for future female engineering students, or are there any characteristics that you think future students should bring to VGU and then trying to enhance those characteristics? Dr.
Yeah, I find out the characteristics of females in engineering from my students at GPM program. They are very dynamic and have very high problem-solving ability. They have the strong brain that's ready to take the difficult tasks and have the good teamwork ability. So every time we give the project for student, industrial project, or even some of the internship in production field, they cooperate very well with co-workers, classmates, and so on to solve the problem. And somehow, like with some of the new things, they eager to learn from other people. So they're not scared to get the value, and they ready to taking the challenges. This is one of the characteristics of our student. And also, in my case, I also have some of those characteristics. Yeah, yeah. It's just funny, like when we talk about the difficulties and some of the challenging with the student. Some of the students in my classes have a family with the kids. They say, oh, I have a lot of work to do. And some other female students, being single, they say, oh, we still have very high pressures from family. That's continuous asking us, like, why you continue study? You almost 30 years old, or like 27 or 28 years old. Why you continue study master, PhD degree? You should get married now because we have new rule or something like that for female to get married before like 30 years old. I don't think this is a joke. But the thing, like the females in our program, when they decided to continue to study master degree, they have to have very strong patience with engineering field. Yeah, to study like after like several years working, and to overcome to the high pressure of their family. Yeah.
Listening to you now, do you think like also it brings you advantages actually having like kids and being also able to like juggle all of like the different tasks you have to do. Like, I mean, you are like managing your professional work, you're also managing your home. So do you think it also helps in a way? It's not only like a disadvantage maybe? Oh, family is never a disadvantage, but you know, like, you know what I mean.
Yeah. I think it depends on the personality.
Yeah.
For me, I think it can be an advantage. So I have kids during I study PhD program, so I don't need to worry about the pressure from my family. But for other people, I think like it's better to concentrate on studying in engineering fields and have the very strong financial background before you have kids. Yeah, it should be easier for you in engineering field. Yeah.
Dr. Yan, do you have some tips, some characteristics that you think would help female students in your program or in general in engineering programs?
I think in general, and especially for the girls, I think being proactive, try to be proactive, try not to be afraid of the norms that society sets up, that engineering is not for girls. Try to be patient and just get your hands dirty. And one thing also I see a lot of female students, they succeed equally in class. So male and female students, they could succeed equally in class. But I think more from female students, they are looking more for kind of reassurance of their confidence. They try to seek for this moral support from the advisors, the teachers, or the classmates. So that's why I think the STEM activity at the nationwide level is very important to raise the awareness and to attract more girls into the engineering field. And to clear the kind of the norms that you will going to fail. So I think if you have the passion, my tip for the girls probably just try to go to the career events, career fairs, to the open days, just to try to see what engineering really is about. Yeah, so you hear a lot of engineering definitions from your parents, from your friends, but really try to find out for yourself what it is, and do you like it? Yeah, if you like it, then do you have capabilities? I think in engineering to succeed, you need to be strong at math, programming, and also with good logical thinking and analytical skills. So if those are all yeses, then why not? You should just go for it and study. And I think no matter what you choose, no matter what your career you choose or the field you go, it's always going to be hard work. So you'll be spending a lot of days, immersing in the field, trying to grow up and eventually succeeding in this field. So if you know these expectations, then you just go for it and don't let the society to keep you away, because we may miss a lot of talent in the engineering field. I think for financial stability and for the economic growth of the country, having the diverse and mixed pool of talents in engineering field is very important, because that is only the way that engineering field could keep on growing and innovating.
Yeah. But to have more of the students like interested in engineering field, I think we should start from even in elementary school or like secondary high school. We need to have more STEM activities and should have some of like event open day for students to have some of the questions related to engineering field and involved to some real activity in engineering field, so they can feel by themselves about what the requirement of engineering field and are they suitable to take the job in that field or not, or should they like follow in other fields. So I think it's going to be very important for the education system that we need to change. Start in the early stage.
Yeah, I completely agree with you what you said. Nowadays, you can see already in Vietnam, there are a lot of STEM activities to raise awareness for the kids in the high school. And in particular for VGU, we also organized several STEM events last year or 2 years ago to attract high school pupils coming to VGU and really go to the labs, see what is electrical engineering, what is mechanical engineering is about, what is computer science. So we give the whole day for the high school students just to interact, to get hands dirty, to play around with the devices, electronics, and at the end of the day, they get the experience. Maybe it's just a glimpse of the whole field, of course, but that's better than nothing. So,
yeah, but a glimpse can light the fire, right? So you start early and the fire keeps growing inside the female pupil's mind.
Yeah.
So we already touched like the field of engineering now, but being just an architect and not a real engineer, maybe you can tell also our audience a little more about what is engineering for you and how did you see changes in the last years, and how would you define like engineering very broad? And we could maybe start with Dr. V.
Yeah. So there are many definitions about engineering, but to simply understand, like engineering is the applicant of science, mathematics, and technology to find a solution for a real problems. So I can say, like in my field, for example, my field is engineering design. I see a lot of difference between engineering in the past and now. The first is the technology has changed the game. Like in the past, when we design a product, for example, by hand or something, it takes a week or a month to do that. But now, because of the technology innovation, the computer aids for design, for manufacturing, and so on, so the process is now very short. And even when the customers now, because of the high competitive markets, the customer always require a lot of things. They change their mind a lot. But because of the technologies, they can adapt with this situation very fast. We can provide for our customer like many alternative design more than only one or two design compared with in the past. Yeah. The second difference is engineering considers environment impact now more than in the past, because we try to forward to sustainable engineering design products, for example. So we not only care about the design, the technical thing, we also care about the environment impact and also how the impact to society, for example. So these three aspects, like we consider during we design a product, and also we care about the whole life cycle of product. After the product, at the end of that, how we can do with the product to better for environment, for example. And the third thing that's changing in engineering field is communication is key in engineering field now. In the past, you can say, like, for example, I just give example in engineering design, we do as like in traditional way, like each engineer will have the specific task we do, and they just move the information to other people. So maybe the customer has a different idea, the designer have different idea, but when the people implement the idea will be do in a different way, for example, like this. But now in engineering field, we normally work in a team.
Sure.
We call the cross-functional team, with people who have the different discipline, major, and so on. But we have the very strong collaboration to each other, support each other, and try to have the good communication to transfer the correct information to each other. So this is one of the different things in engineering nowadays compared with in the past. And finally, I think engineering market is service. It's not in the past now. We only care about our design. We think like, oh, our idea is like very innovative and so on. It's the best thing. But now we care a lot about how to advertise and how to take care during before sale and when the customer use and after sale also. So a lot of things are changing. I think that it means that engineering field now not only requires a strong background in technical science thing, also requires soft skill. Yeah, that's why in our program, for example, that we include a lot of the soft skill course to teach our students.
That would have been my question. Do you also include subjects like that in the GPE program to teach such soft skills? And
yes, we have. Yeah, besides the engineering and production course, we have some of the management course. We have some of the GP projects that increase the team working, the spirit, and also logical thinking, how to cooperate and improve the problem-solving ability of the student and so on. Many courses in our program, yeah.
Okay, do you share that view, or do you disagree totally?
Actually, a lot of things that Dr. B mentioned actually is also what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
I think if you look at the traditional definition of what is engineer, when you talk about, say, a word engineer, you would probably, a lot of us would imagine a person who comes and fixes your air conditioner or washing machine or internet. So if you try to Google, I try to Google and I see the definition of an engineer is a person who designs, builds and maintains engines, machines and structural objects. However, I think this definition is exceptionally out of date. As we are now in the modern area of digital, especially digital industrial area, the engineering is actually people who, like Dr. B mentioned, who actually are problem solvers with creative innovations, how to solve the world's problems. So that's why I mentioned before that I see engineering now within 100 years from now has been changing tremendously, and especially I see three factors. Two of them Dr. B already mentioned. I just want to add one more factor is bioengineering is a very fastly growing field. Maybe not in Vietnam that fast as compared to the US or Germany or Europe, but I believe in the future bioengineering would be changing the way we look at the engineering. So where you have to combine again biology and medicine with engineering to make innovations in medical devices. And also because our population is elderly population is growing, and that also puts a high pressure and need to use medical devices to improve the quality of our lives. Another growing engineering field that will bring up many potential jobs is, of course, I cannot not mention about IT. IT is, but IT nowadays also is very different from 10 years ago. If you look now, we have modern devices like smartphones. So there is a need to develop apps on the smartphone or cloud technology. So all those technology did not exist like 20 years ago. And the industry is becoming more and more data-driven. So how to deal with the data. So we need more people working with data, working with design. And so I cannot not mention again here about artificial intelligence or deep learning. Those help us to deal with the large pool of data and how to explore patterns, the findings there in different applications, ranging from health sector to finances. So I believe the industry in the future would be fully data driven. And as Dr. Lee mentioned, we now talking about production more on a customized level, more than just as function itself. So yeah, so these are my thoughts.
Thank you. And we are already slowly coming to the end, and I think we already touched a lot of arguments why you should study engineering as a female student or a female applicant. But maybe I can ask you for some statements at the end, so to really point out why you should study engineering as a woman or as a girl. Dr. Maybe you could start.
Okay. Well, I believe that again, anyone who has passion and ability in engineering should follow and study it, not only like male or female, yeah. But the reality is what is that again, as I said, the society perception of what is engineering is we think of a man working, you have to use hard workforce, so engineering has to be messy, mechanical thing. So that traditional concept is not anymore true, as I mentioned, for the modern engineering, and we need to find a way to change this. And from there, we see that girls can also work in the engineering field, as it's becoming more and more interdisciplinary now. I believe if you look at, like, for example, Siri or the Alexa or Google Assistants, actually, have you ever wondered that they actually, the default Siri voice is a female voice?
Actually, I haven't.
Yeah, the Siri is
it's a female voice. Yeah. Of course, there is option for you to change. Yeah, but it's by default it's a female voice. So I think this is just maybe a small example to the bigger problem. That right now women they constitute half of the workforce, but their role and impact in the engineering field is very few. As I said, for the financial growth and stability of the country, engineering field needs to attract a very diverse and mixed pool of the talent. So again, I think STEM activities are very important from the early age. And the last tip maybe for female girls, for the girls, just try to explore engineering. Go to career events, go to open day, VGU open day, and try to see if that is for you. Because if that's for you, then again, the future is yours. What you choose, what field you choose will dictate the better half of your life later on. So just follow your passion. If you really like engineering, go for it. Don't let society to kind of prevent you or to be the barrier to your ability in engineering.
Very strong statement here. Thank you. Dr. V, do you have?
I also talk to my daughter also, like, maybe if you like engineering fields, you should apply for engineering field because have a lot of advantage for them. Because first of all, like when you're finding a job, you only want to have this high salary, right? And engineering field, this is one of the careers that have the top salary, in the range compared with other major. And if you are good in science, good in the logical thinking, why not apply for engineering field? Because it is the field that you can express yourself, you can improve your chance, your ability, and so on. So with your patient, you will be for sure successful in future in this field. And I see that nowadays the companies, they want to have the diversity environments, try to balance between the female and male rate in engineering field. So it means that you have a lot of opportunities to find a job. And of course, even if you want to have the higher education in master or PhD degrees, they have a lot of opportunities for women study in engineering field. Like you can have scholarship, internship, and so on, paid internship, and so on. So it will be the good opportunity for you to have free tuition and some of the support living expense for you to continue study. Of course, there are many advantages, but I
No, I think these were strong statements, and I think a lot of reasons why you should study engineering. Thank you for that. I see here now a question from our audience, and we also want to include them, or you, of course. So one question I see here is, how can a female engineer seek work-life balance? Not easy, I would say. So, do you have?
How can engineers?
How can you balance your personal life and your professional life?
Yeah,
we touched that already a little bit with the family. But maybe you can give some more explanations to the audience.
I think first, I understand that a woman studying engineering is they have a strong will and powers, but of course you will need many difficulty situations that you will need support from your partner, from your family, and even teachers and classmates also. Don't just like be alone when you study in engineering field. Like for example, instead of like doing all the housework by myself, I will ask my partner to share. And also, you should have some of the discussion with your professor and teacher to find a solution for you, how you can manage your study in the class, and also somehow, of course, like your kid sick or you're pregnant, for example, like this, you need help. And at that time, the professor or teachers, they can understand the situation and they can give the support for you. In working environments also, we should have some of the support or benefits for the students that they can encourage them to come back their work, to adapt within the environment after maybe deliver baby or so on, something like this. So not only the sign in you, it's also in the employers and also the university that we need to have some of the policy or benefits for the women in engineering field. Yeah.
I think that covered already a lot. I don't know if you want to add something.
Yeah. So basically, seek for the teamwork. Yes. Don't be alone. So the important thing in engineering field, work as a team, because you can learn a lot from your friends, and that also help you to better manage maybe your time management. Seek for support. Also, for example, if your family seek support from the spouse, if you have a good spouse who can help you and support you, even just morally, that also will help you to balance more work and life. And my mentality, I think there is no free lunch. There is a very famous sentence in engineering: there is no free lunch. So you just have to identify at the current point what is more important to you. Maybe you have to a little bit give time priority to that task, and of course you have to compensate with other things. I think, but if you try to do that, it will come. You will gain the experience how to balance the work and life. And I think we also have another question in Vietnamese. So if I try to translate this, a high school student Lệ Giang asks us. She wants to follow mechanical engineering, but her parents would like her to study more accountants and finance because she's a female. So, do you have any suggestions to her? Is there any way that she can first convince her parents?
Yes, that's why I always believe that we can have some of the information event for parents to change their mind why the women should study in engineering fields. Maybe their parents, her parents, think that mechanical engineering is something like you need to use a muscle or something like this. But actually, in mechanical engineering, it is a very wide field, include a lot of things on it. And based on our discussion, I think we very clear that nowadays in engineering field, like we seeking for a problem solver than something that's do manual, something like this. So I think like you should give some information about the mechanical engineering syllabus or curriculum at VGU, for example, to job parents see how the future of your career job and so on. And you also give, of course, the parents, it's very difficult for them to change their minds, but if they can understand the benefits from mechanical engineering field, then maybe they will agree for you to follow your education. As like in the same in my case, like my parents also encouraged me to study in economics field, but I'm decided to mechanical engineering field. And nowadays I find out that it is a good decision because I can be myself. I can show my talents, my patience, and so on. And also the job is also very good based on like salary or the opportunity to develop yourself also. So maybe we should have some of the information event or something for parents in future. And then
I think everybody here at VGU is always very open and always welcoming also parents at all of our information events. So please bring your parents. I think we are all glad to talk with them. Dr. V, Dr. Yen can maybe convince them that it's not such a bad idea. I would also do my best from a more administrative point. But I think you have now already seen two very good examples of very successful women in engineering, and maybe that might convince also some of the parents.
Yeah, and also you can tell with your parents about the opportunities for scholarship for females, student at mechanical engineering program, compared with others like female-dominated field. So you have more chance to get a scholarship in future to follow your maybe higher education or even like go to Germany, right, to study and so on. So have a lot of advantage if you are female study in engineering field. Yeah.
Okay. So let me sum this up a little to the end. So I think although huge steps have been made in the past, there is still a long way to go until we truly reach gender equality in Vietnam as well as all around the world, especially in the engineering field. But we have encouraging role models amidst us like Dr. V and Dr. Yen that show us that it's possible to be a successful female engineer in a male-dominated field. And, of course, also make a difference. And I think we heard a lot of very good arguments why you should apply to VGU, to one of the engineering programs or one of the economic programs, of course, that we also offer. So in total at VGU we have 14 study programs. And of course, you heard now from Dr. V and Dr. Yen about GPE and ECE. And if you want to have more information about those programs, please visit our website and then apply to VGU for one of those programs. And of course, by that, say hi to a bright future as a female engineer or whatever other field you choose. Thank you all for being with me here today. Thank you, Dr. V. Thank you, Dr. Yen, especially. And let me, to the end, remind you one sentence of one of our greatest poets of this generation. Who wants the world? Girls. So see you soon at VGU, and please apply to one of our engineering programs. Goodbye and see you next time. Thank you.